Hatem al-Haj is not a qualified Muftī. He has committed the most elementary mistake, breaking with the Ijmāʿ. The Ijmāʿ is a collective understanding of this Ummah, and it has been carried and preserved by millions of scholars across centuries. No individual, no matter his credentials, is greater than the testimony of the Ummah. And he is certainly not above the judgment of millions of scholars whose consensus forms the backbone of our deen. So what are the conditions of iftā? The ability to give fatwa. Imām al-Suyūṭī, the Imam of his age, laid it down clearly. A man cannot give fatwa until he proves his competence. Not with degrees, not with institutions, but with the testimony of his teachers who bore witness that he is fit for this trust. I want you to hear the words of Imām al-Dhahabī, rahimahullah. A man may sometimes be impressed with himself and love prominence, and so he is punished. How many a man has spoken the truth and enjoyed good, only for Allah to appoint over him someone who harms him, because of the corruption of his intention and his love for religious leadership. This is a hidden disease that runs through the souls of jurists, fuqaha, or in other words, the person who calls himself a Muftī. Imām al-Dhahabī also said, the sign of the sincere person, who may love fame without realizing it, is that when he is criticized for it, he does not become angry nor rush to clear himself. Rather, he admits and says, "May Allah have mercy on the one who gifted me my faults." He should not be self-admiring, blind to his own flaws, or oblivious to the fact he is oblivious, for that is a chronic disease. And yet, what did I see? Every time I asked, every time I stood for my rights, these so-called scholars erupted with anger. Yasir Birjas, Hatem al-Haj, and many others. Their tempers flared. Their masks slipped. I never sought to disgrace them. I respected them. But when I asked a simple, honest question, who qualified you, they turned on me with rage. Is this confidence? Ask yourselves. Is it arrogance to demand proof of competence, or is it just accountability? What would you say of a man who claims to be a doctor, yet his degree is from an unaccredited university with no professors to vouch for him, no recommendations, no training? And when you question him, he waves a certificate of attendance from Harvard University and calls you an arrogant, ill-mannered, disease in the heart, and then he seeks refuge in Allah from you. Tell me, is this the mark of confidence or the exposure of a deep insecurity? When a man goes against the Ijmāʿ, the consensus of the Muslims, he does not oppose me or you or a handful of scholars. He does not oppose a single madhab or even a single generation of Muslims. He has taken a stance against the collective understanding of this ummah, an understanding carried by millions of scholars across centuries. And what does that mean? It means he is no longer to be trusted. He is not to be taken as a scholar. He must be called out for what he is, one who betrays the inheritance of the Prophet ﷺ. The Salaf warned us. Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu said, what the Muslims see as good is good with Allah. And what the Muslims see as evil is evil with Allah. And the Prophet ﷺ warned us with crystal clarity, whoever deviates himself from the Jamāʿah has deviated and separated into the fire. This is not my word. This is not my threat. This is the decree of the Prophet ﷺ. So let every man and woman understand. To violate the Ijmāʿ is not a light matter. It is to set oneself on a path that ends in hellfire. So hear this warning. The Ijmāʿ is not a chain that shackles the Ummah. It is a shield that protects it. It is not a burden. It is a mercy. It is the collective safeguard of our faith, preventing every deviant and innovator from tearing at the foundation of Islam. Whoever defies it defies the Jamāʿah. And if you defy the Jamāʿah, you defy the Ummah. So enough of the deception. Enough of the false claims. Enough of the erosion of our sacred law. It is time we clean our ranks. It is time we restore dignity to the trust of knowledge. As a result of the emotional meltdown I witnessed a few days ago upon questioning Hatem al-Haj, I have come to the conclusion: Hatem al-Haj is not qualified. not qualified by virtue of never naming a single teacher who entrusted him with fatwa, not qualified by virtue of violating the Ijmāʿ of this Ummah, a sin so grave that our scholars commanded us to shun its people, a sin so grave that it can actually make you a kafir, and if not a kafir, then a fasiq. It is truly terrifying to see one man so smart that his own mind has created the perfect conditions to ensure he is never wrong. And he is truly never wrong. When has he ever retracted a fatwa? But I will tell him, and I will repeat it until the day I die. You are wrong. And every time you deny it, the evidence only grows heavier against you. I'm not driven by revenge. I'm not driven by hatred. I am driven by something far greater. Pain. The pain of watching Muslim families destroyed. The pain of fathers stripped of their rights. The pain of children put at risk because men who call themselves scholars bow to ideologies instead of bowing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I speak so that others may be spared these wounds. I speak so that what happened under these fatwa does not happen again. By Allah, if He wills, in the weeks and months ahead, I will unveil more. I will expose the biased interpretations, the distorted reasoning, and the intellectual dishonesty of Hatem al-Haj. I will show how rulings are bent, how evidence is selectively cited, how the sacred law of Allah is tampered with, all to serve a dangerous ideology at the expense of fathers, families, and the Ummah. And people are going to ask, who am I? I'm Dr. Abu. I spent the past 25 years studying the Islamic sciences, walking amongst the real scholars. I've also interacted with the Imams of North America through personal interactions and attending their conferences. But I saw people who committed fraud. I saw hypocrites and I saw downright scam artists pretending to be Imams. I know these people. I walked with them. I ate with them. I sat with their own teachers, and I have the exact same ijazat just like them. But I don't play pretend Muftī because I know my place. Yet they go out and form fatwa that harm families, Muslim families, and Muslim children. I was disgusted by what I saw, and I left the profession entirely. I only benefit my local community. I'm not paid for my work, and neither do I seek fame or praise. I was quiet for the past 15 years. But this week was the last straw. Hatem al-Haj. This is the final opportunity you'll be given to retract your reckless fatwa denying the Ijmāʿ on a mother being forced to transfer custody upon remarriage to a foreign man. Men who, statistically, are 100 times more likely to abuse her children than their own biological father. In your attempt to solve a single issue, you created 10 worse ones. This is precisely why holding fast to the Ijmāʿ preserves your honor and spares your disgrace. I repeat myself once, so there will be no excuse later. Have the humility to admit your error and revoke this fatwa. Whether you choose to do so or not changes nothing for me, but it will define your legacy. Wallahu musta'an. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.